The Hammerstein Ballroom, constructed in 1906 by Oscar Hammerstein for his Manhattan Opera Company. A lot's changed since then. A lot has taken place in this room. I'm Josh Shernoff, and this is Fight in Focus, and today we are going to talk to GCW owner and mastermind, Brett Lauderdale, all about the upcoming January 23rd event, the WRLD on GCW. So many incredible performances have taken place in this building. From the Grateful Dead's 1971 live album to David Bowie's final public performance. And of course, in the year 2000, ECW made its Hammerstein Ballroom debut. Well, now, 22 years later, January 23rd, 2022, the WRLD on GCW. As I said earlier, I spoke to Brett Lauderdale about GCW, how it came to be, how we got here. So let's take a look at that interview right now. Brett Lauderdale, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down here with us for Fight in Focus. We are so excited to have you here talking about GCW, coming to the Hammerstein Ballroom. Look at this place where we are. It's an incredible venue. Did you ever think you'd be sitting here doing this?
Did I ever think? I mean, you know, part of me would say, like, I always believed that we could do it, but, you know, the other part of me would be like, you know, no way, this is like a pipe dream for most people, you know, most performers and especially most indie wrestling companies. So just to be sitting here even with you today is special. You know, every time, you know, I've been here several times now, you know, as part of this operation, every time I walk through the door from 34th Street, you know, into the lobby and then into the ballroom here, you know, I still get, you know, a feeling washes over me, you know, it's like, wow, we're here.
So much has happened in this historic building. But of course, we have to think about ECW, which really in the wrestling business is what kind of set the tone for this being a venue for pro wrestling. Ring of Honor, of course, ran 8 shows here since 2008. But ECW and then the WWE's ECW One Night Stand, kind of synonymous with this building and the way it looks. And now GCW, the WRLD on GCW. So before we get into all of that, tell me your backstory. How did you get into the wrestling business? And before that, how did you fall in love with wrestling?
Sure. I mean, you know, the start is the same as any other diehard wrestling fan. You know, I grew up watching it, you know, with my father, and you know, I fell in love from an early age, and I was, you know, obsessed. You know, I mean,
Who was your guy?
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
That's my guy.
All right.
Just been, you know, I've been a diehard fan since I was a little kid, you know, and I never really stopped loving it, you know. You know, a lot of kids dream of being a baseball player or whatever, you know, a football player, and you know, I always wanted to be involved in wrestling. That was my thing. So here we are.
So how did you become involved? Because millions of people grow up watching wrestling, loving wrestling, wanting to be a part of the wrestling business. Not many do get that opportunity. So how did you get started in the wrestling business?
So my wrestling life went backwards. My wrestling career is kind of backwards. I actually worked for the WWE right out of college. I had an internship when I graduated college. I had an internship with the WWE, and I started with WWE.com, and I was hired within 3 weeks.
Wow.
This was, you know, age of 21.
What did you do for them?
I was a writer for WWE.com.
Okay.
So, you know, I followed the events. I traveled to some of them, and, you know, my job was just to write the report and promote the shows on the website. But, you know, I was a young kid, and, you know, I didn't understand how the world worked yet, and that didn't last long. So, you know, I went from WWE, and then, like I said, I went backwards. I went from there, and I started at the very bottom of the indies. You know, I used to go to I used to drive, even when I worked for WWE, I used to drive from Connecticut to the ECW arena every weekend. Every time there was a show at the ECW arena, I was there for years. I mean, when I was no longer working for WWE, I had a friend who worked for a company that operated out of the ECW arena, and, you know, I said, hey, can you connect me here? And I mean, I started at the very bottom, you know, writing press releases, for message boards and, newsletters and to filming promos, to helping to, airport rides. I must have done 1 million of those.
Wow.
Everything, to refereeing. I used to go to the school at the ECW arena twice a week, every week, just to ref the practice matches, and it just worked up from there. Eventually, I started refereeing all over the Northeast, and then for many companies that operated around the country. So, I did everything along the way.
As open as the wrestling business has become, so much more accessible than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, certainly more than it was 50 years ago. Still, the wrestling business likes to kind of close itself off to outsiders. So I think your involvement in the business from the very bottom to now where you are as the owner of GCW running the show, I think that kind of helps people to listen to you, to trust you. Do you find that?
Well, maybe now, but it certainly didn't when I started.
Oh, no, not then, no.
Yeah, it took, listen, that's part of the story of GCW and a lot of the people that are part of GCW. I always felt like I had a lot to offer from the very start, but, who cares? Who am I? I'm some kid, I wasn't a wrestler. I had no,
right.
It took me years and years and years to prove that I knew what I was talking about. And even then, nobody wanted to listen to me. So, eventually it came to a point where it was, I've hit a wall here. A wall of nothing, honestly. I'm a referee, but I want to do so much more, and I have so much more to offer. So it's time to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and prove I can do it on my own. And that's how really, I got into promoting and running GCW.
What year was that when you started?
I always refer to the first GCW show as being the Nick Gage Invitational 1,
okay,
which was September of 2015. That was the first one that I was intimately involved with, the entire thing. As far as a promoter, that's kind of where my timeline starts.
Okay.
I was involved with stuff before that, but as far as like real deal, that's where it starts.
So you started in 2015, we'll say, as a promoter. Here we are 7 years later.
Yeah.
GCW fills such a niche in the wrestling business, at least in people's minds. GCW is very much, to an outsider, it's the deathmatch wrestling company.
Sure.
Right? Now, we know that GCW offers a lot more than just deathmatch wrestling. But in the last few years, or maybe even when you started in 2015, did you have in your mind ECW, the bigger it got, the more it had to tone down? What kind of made it big in the first place?
Yeah.
Was that a concern that you had? There's a ceiling here, we
no,
can't go further?
Well, sure, it's certainly something that crossed my mind, and I think there's a balancing act, but I've always believed that we could get bigger and grow the company. And of course, there's certain things you can do, in a empty warehouse,
Sure.
At the end of a dead-end street that you can't do in the Hammerstein Ballroom. But that doesn't mean we can't still be authentic and true to, our style and our spirit of what got us here. And I think that's the most important thing to me, there was a time when we had 4 or 5 death matches per show. But, that was just the style we were doing at the time. And we still have death matches, a lot of them, and they've main evented some of our biggest shows, even to this day. So it's just, it's a time and place thing, but we don't want to limit ourselves to anything. We can do any style, and they're going to see that on January 23rd at the Hammerstein.
You mentioned one word you said was spirit, the spirit of GCW. The first GCW show that I had the opportunity to go to for FITE was the Nick Gage versus Matt Cardona main event there, and man, the energy in that building, it was unbelievable. I was so impressed with how passionate the fans were about GCW.
Yeah.
You could see that same spirit in each match.
Sure.
Is there something that you look for? There's been I want to talk about this vast roster that GCW has. Is there something you look for in a talent where you say that is what makes them fit into GCW?
Definitely.
Because we've seen from Matt Cardona coming in, we just saw Jeff Jarrett show up in GCW.
Yeah.
So forgetting the fact that everybody wants to be here now, What is it that you look for?
Yeah, there is definitely something. And, you know, of course, there's so many talented pro wrestlers out there. Even in today's landscape, we've seen so many who have just been released from contracts that are free agents out there. The talent pool is very deep right now. And these are all very talented, very good people, you know, capable performers. But there is a difference. There is something that makes you more fit for GCW. You know, I mean, me personally, you know, I try to find out, you know, a little bit about the person beyond just their literal, you know, skills in the ring. You know, I look for people who are, you know, passionate about wrestling and about indie wrestling. People who, you know, I can tell care, you know, that it's more than just, you know, a paycheck or, you know, their job, you know, people that have, and you know, there are people, and that's okay. There are some people who they're just good at it, and this is their job, and that's what they do. But you know, I'm interested in people who care and they're passionate, and they, you know, and because the fans can feel that, and when we're all, you know, we all are invested in the same thing. You know, there's a connection between the passionate performers and the passionate fans, and I don't know. To me, that makes a difference. That's what sets GCW apart. These are people who want to be here because they want to be a part of GCW and perform for the GCW fans. It's not just another wrestling show for wrestling fans.
Now, looking at January 23rd, right here in this room, exactly where we're sitting right now, there's going to be a GCW ring, which has got to be an incredible feeling just knowing that. But what type of matches can we expect? You've been we haven't seen a lot of that, which to me really speaks to what GCW has become. The fact that, and I should say, the world on GCW is sold out. It was sold out months in advance.
Yeah.
Without a single match announced. That's huge.
Yeah. No, and it's a testament to the credibility that we've built up with fans too. And I've taken this seriously from day one, was always making sure that we, you know, we give people their money's worth. We deliver on promises. You know, if we can't, then we over-deliver in the makeup, you know, and making it up to people. And, you know, people have grown to trust us where, you know, if we're coming to the Hammerstein Ballroom, it's a big deal. Right. And they know they're going to get a special show whether we announce the matches ahead of time or not. You know, as for what they're going to get, I mean, you're going to get GCW on the 23rd, you know? You're going to get a locker room full of performers that are going to be wrestling like it's their last match. You know, there's going to be nothing left behind, and you know, it's a special day for a lot of people, and I think that's going to be reflected in the matches and the performances. Now,
of course, this event's going to be available on FITE. You can go to FITE.tv right now, and you can order it. Where else is this going to be available?
Well, I don't know if it's, by the time this is aired, if this will have been announced yet, but the WRLD GCW will be available on traditional cable pay-per-view in demand, which of course is a first for us. And you know, we're really excited about that as well. It's a chance, again, to put our product in front of new eyes, people that might not have ever heard of us before. You know, people that might be scrolling through and seeing, what is this, wrestling on pay-per-view, and what is this company, and it's at the Hammerstein Ballroom. This is interesting. Yeah, I mean, in demand, pay-per-view. It's going to be cool. It's a whole new world for us.
Let's talk a little bit about GCW and how many shows you guys are doing. You're a touring brand, and I feel like sometimes that gets lost in the conversation. You're doing a ton of shows all over the place. Why did you, at a time where a lot of people are kind of saying, all right, let's shrink down a little bit, let's kind of bring things in, GCW has said, no, I think we're just going to go out as far as we possibly can, and we're going to bring this to everybody.
Yeah.
What's the mindset behind that?
Well, I mean, first of all, we were doing that before COVID. All right, we just had to take a little break, and then we really just picked up where we left off. I mean, it's in regards to, you know, doing so at a time when a lot of people were slowed down. It's just we don't slow down. You know, that's like part of the spirit of GCW. You know, in the words of Nick Gage, you know, we just keep going and going and fucking going. So, you know, that's just what we do. And, you know, we have fans in cities all over the country, and they all want to see us, and we want to see them. So if there's a way for us to do it, you know, as safe as possible and keep going, then we're going to keep going. Getting
back to the roster for a minute, what a a buffet of athletes. You really have something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
There are people, I've been to shows with Too Cold Scorpio has been on the show. Of course, you have Effie, who has kind of broken out as a big star. Matt Cardona, he's somebody who helped put a lot of eyeballs on GCW as well. Jeff Jarrett now, everybody's talking again. There is that balance between the people that, I don't want to say that they're unknown, because they're not unknown to the GCW crowd for sure. But comparatively to, say, a Jeff Jarrett, who's been known at the highest level for the last 20 plus years, you really do have that balance. Is that something that you're conscious about for each show, where you say, okay, we need to grab X number of legends, we need to get this number of people who've never been on?
Yes, there's a balance, but also I don't look at it like it's not just about like, oh, we need to get this amount of legends or former TV stars. That's not why. I mean, I'm not just bringing in Too Cold Scorpio or Ricky Morton and Jeff Jarrett because they were a former TV star. It's because I think that they will fit in GCW, that they can bring their notoriety and, their familiarity and all the things that come with it, and also do what they do in the GCW context. If I didn't think so, they wouldn't be here, Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to, as an example, Tito Santana. I'm not sure how he would fit into the GCW world. So, I'm not hitting up Tito Santana and asking him to come and get a little hardcore with Effie. Not because I don't like Tito Santana or respect him, but, there's certain people who can and want to do certain things, and others who it's just not a good fit. So
I will say now all I want to see is Tito Santana.
I do
versus
like Tito,
Effie.
and you know what?
And
Tito lives in New Jersey too, so now I feel like we have to hit
Tito
him up.
Santana, if you're watching this,
there are so many who
absolutely.
are just who I could get any at this point I could get any TV guy or legend. It's a matter of who fits and who doesn't.
Yeah. And again, that speaks to, as you said before, the spirit of GCW and making sure that it is authentic. And that's something that I know there has been a lot of talk about. How can they give us GCW on such a big stage? And you mentioned earlier, obviously, there are things you can do in some places that you can't do here. I think everybody understands that. What can we really expect?
Well, listen, don't get me wrong. GCW, I mean, we call ourselves the Last Outlaws for a reason. So, in the Hammerstein Ballroom, if licenses have to get put on the line, or if we have to pay a couple fines to get the job done, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. But, listen, because I've been suspended before by the New York State Athletic Commission and paid a lot of money in fines. I didn't enjoy that, but what I'm saying is, if we have to take another bullet or two to deliver, then so be it. But listen, there's lots of things we can do. I mean, we've been running shows in New York City. We just had 2 of them in, what was it, September? That, we did our thing without any issues with the commission or anything. I mean, we can do what we do within the rules of the commission. And, sometimes we toe the line or push the envelope, and it is what it is. But we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't confident that we could deliver what people want from GCW.
So I guess the real question is, what's next after this? Not to get ahead of it, because this is still something pretty big coming up here on the 23rd of January. But what's next? You obviously have a vision for GCW. So what's next in your mind for GCW?
Well, a lot of people ask this, and a lot of people have ideas of what they think should be next for GCW. And my real answer to this is, what's next is to continue to be GCW and stay authentic to our brand, continue to do the things we've been doing, make new fans, find new markets, but to do so while still being GCW.
And that's the beauty of FITE TV.
Yeah.
Because FITE TV allows you to be GCW.
Yes. FITE is iPay-per-view, and iPay-per-view is pay-per-view. Yep. It's, it's broadcast, it's streaming. If you want to watch us, you can watch us.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, FITE, for. FITE has helped us do that and help bring a lot of new eyes to GCW, and I look forward to continuing that relationship. That's also something that's next, is to continue to work with FITE and again, just keep finding new fans and expanding our fan base and growing markets and so on and so forth.
And I think so far you've been doing a hell of a job growing the GCW brand Thank you so much, Brett, for taking the time to talk with me about this. January 23rd, can't get here soon enough as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait to be here and to feel the energy. This building is going to explode. It is going to be.
Yeah, all these seats are going to be filled.
Yeah, I mean, you're sold out. I overheard, I don't know if I'm telling tales out of school, I know you're trying to see if you can get even a couple extra seats in here because you know how important this is to your fans, and the fans know how important this is to GCW.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait, and I look forward to seeing everybody here.
Thank you very much, Brett.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Brett Lauderdale, for taking the time to sit down with me for this very special Fight in Focus. On January 23rd, the Hammerstein Ballroom is going to be filled with the passionate, rabid fans of GCW. If you can't be here in the Hammerstein, we hope that you will join us on FITE TV. I'm Josh Shernoff. This has been Fight in Focus, and we will see you January 23rd for the WRLD on GCW.